to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption, and there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. As many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America.
Donald Trump increasingly desperate in these final days before his indictment, now claiming that he'll set up a Truth and Reconciliation Commission where he'll go looking for the corruption and exposing the deep state. Well, of course, the deep state is just the government, law enforcement. It's exactly who he's fighting against because finally, they've caught up with him and he knows it. And so these desperate attempts to evade law enforcement are coming in the form of these videos filmed in the shadows with US flags behind him, giving the impression that he is this kind of savior once again. And of course, this language talking about setting up a commission, it's no different to Nazi Germany. It's no different to the investigations of the KGB or even the Ministry for State Security, or commonly known as the Stasi, that was the state security service in East Germany from 1950. I mean, this fascist language he presents in a way to kind of think that he is the solution. Talking about taking great patriots and moving them out of Washington and giving them jobs. I mean, that's just bribing, again, his base, people who are white supremacists, people who are the kind of racist followers who just want to make America white again. It's a little bit like those freedom cities he was talking about a couple of weeks ago, claiming that he's going to create some kind of segregated community for people who buy into his particular brand of fascism. And that's why the more he talks, the more he puts out these little videos to his increasingly diminishing base, he is simply kind of saying the quiet parts out loud. He is exposing himself for what he really is. Make no mistake, one man, one solitary man, a malignant narcissist, a former reality TV show host, a failed businessman, is the reason that US politics is going through this crisis. It's the reason why, for the first time in 100 years, there was an insurrection. The legitimate election of a president was delayed for a period of hours. Of course, on January 6, when his supporters stormed the Capitol because he told them to. And now, of course, all of those supporters in the main are pleading guilty, and many are saying we did it because Donald Trump said that we should. And there's protests today all over the country. In Florida, people are out protesting. And when asked, why are you here? Why are you protesting? They're saying, well, because enough is enough. But they don't say why. They don't say what. There's no detail. This is this kind of blind following of a fascist dictator.
Be smart, don't start, kick the habit, put it out before it puts you out. All phrases we've heard 100 times, yet we still continue to have bad habits. Our sponsor, Fume, is on a mission to accelerate humanity's breakup from the bad habits that consume far too many of us. Fume is a natural diffusive device that uses plants and behavioral science to help you trade out your negative habit for a positive one. Fume is not a vape, it's a non-electronic device designed to transform your negative habits. Instead of pods filled with potentially harmful chemicals like a vape, Fume uses cores infused with plants like peppermint and cinnamon for delicious natural flavors. Fume's new version 2 model is snappy and tactile. With an adjustable airflow dial and a magnetic end cap, your fingers will always have something to do. I got one for my sister, and she loves the simplicity of utilizing flavored air through a stylish device to help her with bad habits. The easiest way to stop a bad habit is to switch to a positive one, and Fume is designed perfectly to do that. It's Fume's goal to make switching easy and even enjoyable. They have thousands of 5-star reviews from people just like you who've successfully switched when other solutions just didn't work. Head to tryfume.com and use code WEEKEND to save 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. The Journey Pack comes with 3 unique flavors and the new version 2 Fume to help kickstart your positive habits. That's tryfum.com and use code WEEKEND to save an additional 10% off your order today.
You've got to understand the difference between these MAGA Republicans and a traditional democracy, and certainly in the case of Joe Biden. Democrats do not revere Joe Biden. They don't put Joe Biden on a pedestal. They will not give their last dime to Joe Biden. What they support is democracy, the Democratic Party, the democratic process, the ideals of true freedom, giving women the right to choose, not trying to kind of push minority groups out of society. There is a very big difference between the worship of one man, because this line between, who is the leader of the Republican Party, obviously Trump announces his candidacy for 2024, and in the American system that just makes him kind of the leader of the party. Not in Congress or in the Senate, but the kind of unofficial leader. He wants to be the president again. And this power, giving power to an unelected person, giving this kind of right, supposedly, to be the kind of unofficial leader of an entire political movement, and allowing him to fundraise. I mean, it's a pretty weird system from where I come from. And yet, the media is supporting it, talking about this being unprecedented, the idea of a former president being indicted, and saying that this is unprecedented and trying to make that the story. And that is not the story. The story is, what will happen if you don't indict somebody who has committed multiple crimes against his own country, continues to lie, and is now using this language of the Stasi, of the far right, of these extremists. This is the language that he's using. Of course, he does a lot of it in code. He's very good at that, a bit like a mobster. Doesn't like to perjure himself. But the thing is, he's said so much over so many years now that there is so much material, there is so much evidence to corroborate. Small moments like on the aircraft when he was asked about Stormy Daniels and the hush money payments, he said, "I don't know her." Do you see what I mean? These little moments where he thinks that he's in control and he forgets that everything is on videotape. And all of these little things can be connected and corroborated. And so there is no question that he called his supporters to storm the US Capitol because it's on video. We've seen it. Not just him saying it. I want you to fight and fight for your country, and we're going to go to the Capitol and I'll go with you. All of this rhetoric, it counts for something. And when you add it all up and you throw in everything else, Georgia and the perfect phone call and trying to extort Volodymyr Zelensky. I mean, there's just so much against this guy. And still, he is projecting that he is innocent and everything is a hoax. Well, it can't all be a hoax, Mr. Trump. All of these cases, all of the judges that threw out your claims of election fraud that you had put in, these were Trump judges. It's just very frustrating to know that one man who is so mentally compromised, who is so narcissistic but so childlike, has no concept of the damage that is being done to the country that he claims to love, and trying to split the country by referring to white nationalists as patriots and everybody else as Antifa, it's just a joke. And it's very important to me as an independent journalist that the media in the main makes the effort to recognize his crimes and talk about those crimes and why they are against the law, and not turn this idea of indicting a former president as being unprecedented and not making that the story. Because that's not the story. The story is that all of us who live and work and adore the country are having to deal with one man trying to undermine the entire political system, the entire legal system, trying to pit innocent people against each other. It's very, very dangerous. And for that reason, the sooner that he is indicted, the sooner that he is arrested, the sooner he is prevented from running as president and being this kind of de facto leader of the Republican Party, the better. I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5 Minute News podcast and on Sundays on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Lock him up! Indictment season is upon us. Celebrate with the new Indictment Season t-shirt and v-neck exclusively at store.meidastouch.com.